This video presentation will provide an overview of three major frameworks that influence the creation of policies in the United States, including iron triangles, issue networks, and interagency councils. So what are iron triangles? Essentially, iron triangles represent the strong and unified relationship between the three important forces that drive the process of policymaking in the United States. These forces are congressional committees, members of the bureaucracy, and interest groups. Through an iron triangle, policies are implemented that benefit the private interests of each group. A current example of an iron triangle would be the relationship between pharmaceutical companies, legislative committees, and the FDA. To help ensure the passage of friendly legislation that benefits their organizations financially, pharmaceutical companies raise money to help certain members of Congress win elections. These new elected members of Congress would then pass legislation that favors pharmaceutical companies. In turn, the FDA would create rules that enforce the new legislation created by the legislative committees. So in the end, all three parties have benefited from this close relationship, making the iron triangle a very effective method of policymaking for private groups. However, the relationship between these powerful groups leaves very little room for the voice of the constituents, or those affected by the policy, as constituents are usually less powerful and less organized compared to private interest groups. There are policy-making forces, called issue networks, that seek to represent the public interests of constituents. Issue networks represent an alliance between individuals and organizations that attempts to promote a single issue to be addressed through government policy. Individuals within an issue network are usually experts in the specific issue of concern, such as business executives, academic researchers, journalists, and political executives. The current example of an issue network is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation's Energy and Water Use Program. This issue network is an alliance between the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Corporate Citizen Center, the International Association of Plumbing and Mechanical Officials, and companies such as Microsoft, FedEx, and Shell Oil. These organizations formed a network to address the strain placed on the country's energy and water resources due to the demands of a growing population. This network focuses on finding solutions to energy and water challenges by promoting greater resource efficiency and conservation and forming strategic partnerships to influence policy. Overall, issue networks are beneficial because they represent the public interest, and constituents can join together and use their great numbers to form associations and influence policy. The only drawback of issue networks is that they are less tightly woven than iron triangles, and are therefore likely to have more conflict due to fundamental disagreements among various leading experts regarding important issues. A third force influencing policies created in American government is interagency councils. Interagency councils are working groups created to enable the coordination of policymaking across numerous governmental agencies. These groups focus on specific concerns similar to issue networks, but differ in that they are composed mainly of federal agency heads rather than a diverse group of people and corporations. Today, a prominent interagency council is the Interagency Council on Homelessness. The council was created through legislation in 1987 called the Urgent Relief for the Homeless Act in response to nationwide efforts to assist the homeless. Their main focus is to develop a federal strategic plan to prevent and end homelessness among all people, especially veterans, families, and children. Specific tasks of the Interagency Council on Homelessness include the following: reviewing effectiveness of federal activities and programs to assist those experiencing homelessness, increasing coordination among agencies, and informing state and local governments about the availability of federal homeless assistance. The collective effort of bureaucratic agencies within interagency councils helps to ensure that certain issues such as homelessness are addressed directly in government. However, one drawback of interagency councils is that they have no central authority, so their actions can be fragmented, overlapping, and duplicative. In conclusion, iron triangles, issue networks, and interagency councils are all important forces that drive the policymaking process in the United States government. The many relationships and interests of all parties involved makes policymaking the complex process that it is today. I hope that in this presentation you have learned more about the various factors that influence and drive the policymaking process in the United States.